I realized that's kind of cool about this. No one in school gets this talk but you. This is not part of anyone else's curriculum. No one ever, in your regular other school classes, no one tells you what your rights are. I mean, I didn't know this till recently. I don't think your teachers probably know it either. It comes out of Florida laws that unless you're a lawyer, you probably never looked at before. And so you're lucky you get to hear something nobody else gets, and it's, I think pretty interesting. When any person turns 18 in Florida, they automatically become an adult. Catch me when I'm saying something really wrong. It doesn't matter whether you've got a disability, don't have a disability, tall, short. Everyone becomes a legal adult at 18, and we're going to go through the rights everyone has as a result of being 18, and this is in Florida in particular, but it's going to be about the same in other states. It's a fair enough thing to say. And sometimes when we talk to parents about this, your parents, they say, oh, we didn't know this. We knew he could drive when he was 18, whatever. We knew he could vote when he's 18, you get that right. But we've got the get married part. Travel, didn't think about travel. Like, you're 18 and now you could take a bus to New Orleans if you want to and see what everybody's talking about how cool New Orleans is. And before that, you would have to ask your parents if you could go take the bus. So, you went to the bus station and you looked like you were 12 years old, the bus driver probably wouldn't, the guy selling the ticket wouldn't probably sell you the ticket because you didn't look like you were old enough to travel on your own. So, and this is just the beginning of a list of just some of the rights that you get when you turn 18. Now, I'm always trying to remember myself when I turned 18. See, I might have had a girlfriend, but I don't think I was going to run off and marry her just because I turned 18. 'Cause before you're 18, you need your parent. You can't just get married. When you're 18, you have everyone else has the right to get married without asking their parents or anybody else. So I like the idea. I'm just trying to. You like the idea that you can vote when you're 18? When you turned 18, did you all try to go out and vote? Did you feel good about that? I feel really good whenever I go vote. Just because in a lot of countries you can't vote. A lot of other countries you can't vote. In the United States you can vote, and it makes a big difference. So you turn 18, they say, oh, you're an adult. You can go to the voting booth now. You have to get a voter card first, and you get the voter card, and then you go to your voting booth, and you actually can vote like everybody else, like grown-ups, because you are a grown-up when you're 18. You can apply for a driver's license. Anyone can apply for a driver's license who's over 18. You have to pass a written test, a couple of, like 10 questions about driving stuff, and then you have to pass an eye test, make sure you can see. You can wear your glasses. Still have to pass the eye test with your glasses on. And you have to pass a road test where you actually drive someone else's car around, your friend's car around, or your family's car around. So you don't have the right to drive yet, but you have the right to apply to drive, right? To try to get a license. So that's all. It's the right to get married, the right to vote, and the right to travel, like I was saying. I never thought about that before. Sometimes you hear about, if you watch a lot of cop TV shows, like, detective shows like that, sometimes you'll see someone kidnaps a kid who's under 18. And the big deal is if they drive across to Georgia. If they cross the state line, that kid didn't have a right to travel. Now you're a kidnapper. Now they call the FBI. So I know that from watching television. You could apply for a job before you were 18, probably some jobs, but now that you're 18, you can apply for most all jobs unless they're for other kinds of people, like, I think what I'm talking about. You could apply for your own government benefits after you're 18. That's a hard one, because I don't know about you, but every time I have to fill out forms, I get pretty messed up. A lot of these things, you're going to have the right to do them, but you're going to be a little nervous about doing them yourself. So we're going to talk about how you can use those rights, get help in them besides your circle of support, but just actually professional help. You can decide where to live now when you're 18. Karen over there had a client who was under guardianship, and he didn't have the right to decide where to live, but he wanted to live where he hated where his guardian told him to live. He was over 18, his right had been taken away from him. He had a guardian, a judge took the right away and said, you get yourself in too much trouble, you're a nice guy, but we're going to have to take your right to choose where you want to live away from you and give it to a guardian person, who was Karen, and the kid says, I don't want to live here where you're making me live. And she says, you can't live in the other place because you just get yourself in trouble all the time. And he finally got finally, with Karen's help, he got all his rights back. But he got them back after he could handle them. So, I mean, if you're deciding where to live and you start trying to sign a lease or something and you can't afford it or something like that, you'll need some assistance, somebody to tell you how to do it. You don't want to just run off and so these are all. So you could decide before you're 18, if you say to your parent, when I was a kid, when I was before 18, what I hated about where I lived was I had to share a bedroom with my brother. Because I lived in New York City and the apartments are really small. They're terrible small. And I hated it. I said, I want to live somewhere else. And they said, well, wait till you're 18 and you can go find some other place to live. But till you're 18, you're living with us. And so that's what that's all about. This was the one medical decision mattered to me the most. I'll tell you why. My parents took me to a doctor, a good doctor, but he was a pediatrician, a kid doctor, a doctor of children, which was fine when I was 6 years old and 10 years old. But by the time I'm like 17 years old, I hate going to the doctor, because I go to the doctor and I go to this waiting room and it's full of stupid toys and kids who are all sneezing and covered with boogers, which is not the greatest place you could. So I would always say to my parents, can't I go to a grown-up doctor? Doctor for grown-ups. And they said, yeah, well, they just didn't get around to it. So I said, gosh, now I'm 18, I'm going to find, I don't have to go to the doctor my parents tell me to go to. So that was, I remember feeling that way. We got any more listed here? Yes. It gets a little crazier. Here's more rights. Nobody ever told, and nobody ever knows these rights until somebody tells you. When you're 18, you can go get, let's say you've saved some money from a job you've done before you're 18. You've been working in Publix or something, and so you saved $100. You can't really do much with that $100 before you're 18, because you can put it in the bank account, but you usually have to sign that thing with your parents. But once you're 18, you can make your own bank account, you can spend your own money, whatever you can make. Nobody can tell you how to spend it, except your parents can't tell you, your best friends can't tell you, nobody can tell you how to, because you have the right to manage your own money, and if you own a house, to decide what to do with your own house. So all of a sudden, and so that's one that gets a lot of kids in trouble. Like Amelia said, you get, all of a sudden you get credit cards in the mail and you start going to stores and say, this is great. I could buy every piece of clothing I want, and then about a month later, some bill comes in the mail and say, oh, you owe us $700. You say, oh, I didn't realize that I had to actually pay for those things. And so now you're in a lot of trouble. If you did it before you were 18, your parents got in trouble. Now that you're 18, you get in trouble. So that's one that you always have to watch out for. There's a lot of freedom and a lot of money going around that you could grab onto, and it's not really yours, so you have to be really careful and not get yourself crazy over it. This one's another one. This is in Florida law. When you turn 18, you can control your own social life. You can pick your own friends. You know, I remember when I was a little less than 18 and my parents saying, I don't like that kid. He's a bad influence on you. He's a nice guy. He's really nice. Well, you're not going to see him. And I couldn't do anything about it because I wasn't 18. When I'm 18, I can pick my own friends, go to whichever clubs I want to go to. That was a wild clubber, I'll tell you that. Maybe not. I could do what I wanted, social life. Before you're 18, your parents go. Now, it's not like just to make it clear, it's not like we all run out when we're 18 and tell our parents to forget about it. I'm out of here. But it's good to know what happens and what these things are, because we all need help in these various areas. I was going to say, I have a disability that hardly anybody else has. I can't smell anything. Nothing. No smell. Can't smell a thing. You'd think it's not a big deal, right? I mean, you know why? Because they cut the nerve for some reason. So you got a nerve that goes from your nose, it goes up to your brain, and if they cut it, it's like cutting a electrical wire. There's no more smelling goes up to your brain. So that happened to me, so I can't smell anything. I can't hardly, so the bad thing is I can't taste food very well anymore, because a lot of food is the smell of it. But what's worse is, I can't, if the school burned down right now, I couldn't smell the smoke. I can't smell anything. So I need help kind of all the time when I'm eating, because if I'm looking at something in the refrigerator, if you're wondering, well, it's kind of colored green and it's been here for 3 weeks, but I bet I could still eat it.
Wow.
You open it up, and if normal people, regular people can smell the thing and say, ooh, but I can't do it. So I need help. I can poison myself. My house can burn down. There's various things that this little strange disability does to me, right? It's not the most horrible thing in the world at all. And so those things, they can take it. I'm trying to give you the worst example. Like my wife was coming home for lunch, and I decided I'd make her this delicious tuna salad sandwich. And I put everything you can imagine in the tuna salad. Put the tuna in it, I put vegetables in, I put mayonnaise in, I put everything in. I put these nice hard-boiled eggs in. Turns out the hard-boiled eggs had been there for a couple of weeks. I looked at them and I said, I don't know if these are good eggs or bad eggs, and I swear to you, I can't smell the difference between a rotten egg and a regular egg. So I just happily make this great tuna salad, make the sandwich, and she goes to it and she goes, well, what's smelling in this thing? And I said, I don't know, I can't smell anything, don't ask me, I can't smell anything. And so these things, now, with older people in particular, they can get in a little bit of trouble with something like this, because sometimes I'm cooking something in the kitchen and I forget, and I'm cooking it, and I nearly start a fire. The pot starts smoking, and the kitchen fills with smoke, and the house fills with smoke, and I still can't smell anything. And then my wife comes over and says, "Look at what you've done! You've almost burned the house down." we need to take your right away. We need to change your living situation because you're a danger to yourself. Say, wait a minute. I left a pot on there one time. Did you ever leave a pot on when you were cooking something, right? Forget something, or you started cooking it and you forgot that it was cooking, or you left it in the microwave. Everybody makes mistakes. But telling you about these things just want to get you a sense of where you're at when you turn 18, and these new rights you have that are wonderful to have, because you're now going to make decisions about, what jobs you want to get and who you want to hang out with and all that. And it's a wide open, you're wide open just like everybody else is in the state of Florida. They give us, everyone, the same rights.